Yours,
The decision.
Steve, your microphone is on this other side of the dais here. You don't have to do anything with a speaker.
Okay,
Yours
all right,
is
so
right there.
I'm on.
You're
All
on.
right, what's
Everybody
5:30?
else, just make sure you turn.
All right, well, I'm gonna leave this one alone then.
We're rolling.
Okay, good evening. Welcome to the Monday, May 9th, 2022 City of West Point Business Meeting. I'd like to begin the meeting with a prayer by Reverend Gerald Ledbetter.
Let's pray. God, we do thank you for the day. Thank you for your goodness and grace, and we ask your continued blessings upon our city and this council as we deliberate its business in the name of Christ. Amen.
Amen. You please rise and say the Pledge of Allegiance. Salute. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, I'm gonna call the business meeting to order. Council, you have the minutes from the April 11th, 2022 meeting in your information packet. Do I hear a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Do we have a second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? You also have a financial report in your information packet. Do I hear a motion to approve the financial report?
I move that we approve the financial report as presented.
Thank you. Need a second?
Second.
We have a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay, I'm going to review the agenda with everybody. Tonight we have the Easy Blockchain Agreement Amendment. We have the West Point Village LLC Tract A1 Final Plat. We have the West Point Village LLC Tract 1, 2, and 3 Final Plat. We have a property purchase of the West Point Village Tract 2 and 3. Do I hear a motion to approve the meeting agenda?
Make a motion.
Okay, thank you. Second?
Second.
Okay, any discussion?
Yes, I just have one question. In that, we only have 50% of our members here, and I'm sure that we're going on with the meeting. Apparently, we don't have to have a majority, but it's the majority of the members present that allows us to conduct business, and just a matter of point of clarification for myself.
4 is a quorum. 4 is a quorum.
I didn't hear you. What?
We have a quorum at 4.
Quorum at 4.
Yeah.
So you count as a member?
Mhm.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
So do you vote?
I can.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
I always can vote. I don't ever usually vote, but to keep the meeting, she's asking, would you like for the meeting to continue, given that we're missing 3 of our members?
I don't have a problem with the continuing. I'm just trying to clarify for my own
Okay.
benefit.
Yeah, we can
what
with the 4 of us.
Because, sometimes you vote, sometimes you don't. I always thought you voted to break a tie, but sometimes you vote to create a tie. So
Well-
I'm just wanting some clarification. I'm not trying to be difficult.
If we got everybody here and you do the math, my vote would
Right.
never matter except if there's a tie.
Exactly.
So normally I don't vote. I will if we want to name Zelma Brock. I'm cheering with the rest of y'all. But in order to continue the meeting tonight, I certainly can vote and am willing to vote tonight on this.
Okay,
Is
so I'm not just on this meeting, I'm
Any
trying to
meeting.
clarify. So you don't vote if we have 100% participation or attendance. If we have less than that, you will vote. Is that?
Well,
Is
like
that what-
if we had 4 council members here this evening.
Yeah, I understand the math, I'm just
Yeah.
saying, is that the rule? I'm not saying,
That
is
is
it
the
the
rule.
rule
That
for
is
tonight?
that's the rule for every time.
Okay, that's what I'm getting at.
And normally, my vote doesn't matter unless it's a tie.
You're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I'm just wanting to know that if that's the rule for this meeting and any other meeting where we got less than for attendance.
No,
That's what
no,
I'm
no,
getting
no,
at.
no.
Go ahead,
I'm just
go ahead.
looking at this.
No,
one.
the mayor has the right to vote on anything that comes before the council. That's what the rule is.
So the discretion is just how
The mayor
you want
has
to
the
do
right
it
to
from
vote.
one meeting to another?
The mayor has the right to vote just like you as a council member have a right to vote. There's no difference between your
Okay.
voting on an agenda item.
Okay, so he can exercise his discretion to vote or not to vote on anything depending on or irrelevant to whether it's gonna create a tie or,
I could vote to force a tie,
okay,
I could vote to break a tie.
okay.
Yeah,
That's what I want you to say.
Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely,
All
yeah.
right. Okay,
yeah,
thanks.
so. Any other comments?
We have a motion on the floor, it's been seconded.
In a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? All right, so the first item on the agenda tonight is the Easy Blockchain Agreement Amendment. I'll read it to you. You have an amendment to the Easy Blockchain Agreement that was discussed in the previous meeting. The language from the previous amendment was changed slightly since the last work session due to the limit of available power at the Pear Street substation. The change is to allow 24 months to develop the needed capacity at the Pear Street substation. Do I hear a motion to approve the Easy Blockchain Agreement?
So moved.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
Second. Any discussion?
Yes.
Okay.
And this may have been dealt with at the work session, but I guess I'm a little puzzled by us allowing an amendment so soon after we entered into the first agreement. We haven't really had an opportunity to evaluate the effectiveness of it, pros and cons of it. I think it was kind of still a lot of mystery around the whole concept of crypto mining and the whole easy blockchain concept. And maybe everybody else knows all there is to know about it. Do you all feel like you're educated enough about the whole project, the whole concept? Do y'all?
Mr. Mayor,
Please.
so while we might not know the business and what it means to Bitcoin mine or whatever they do, they are a good customer, they are paying bills, and they are improving the ability of the city of West Point to be better on financial ground. They are willing to come in here, spend some capital, and we have to do some utility work for them that is recovered over time, and it's a generation of revenue for us, and I'm absolutely in favor of it.
Okay, you say they are a good customer, so before this agreement, they were our customer?
Never once did I say that.
Oh, you said they were a good customer. I was thinking you were basing your assessment on our experience with them as an existing or ongoing customer. So this is all new, right? We voted on it less than 6 months ago, I think?
Yeah, and this is an increase in the capacity. Part of the reason for this is they're asking for an increase in their capacity.
Right.
So I don't think we're here to debate whether or not we're all in favor of crypto mining or how they go about doing it. It's just if we want to go ahead and go do the improvements and provide more power and generate more revenue for the city is what we're voting on here.
Right, I realize what we're voting on, but, and you know, I have a vote, and I know how that vote probably goes with this group. But let me just sort of go on record as when we voted on the first time. And this time, I still have concerns about the haste with which we're moving forward with this. It may be the wave of the future. I think I asked when we had discussion before, what makes this the magic solution for us? What makes this the customer? Good customer, unknown customer, not so good customer. What makes this the one that is good for the city of West Point? Yes, it's going to generate some revenue. Will another agreement generate more? Are there agreements that could be had that would be more lucrative for the city once we are comfortable, and maybe everybody's comfortable with it except me? But you know, it's just one customer and one agreement, and on the heels of the first agreement, we're amending it to give greater latitude and more resources. Maybe that means a little bit more money for us too, but we're moving pretty fast in a direction of unknown, in my opinion. So that's my reservation about it. I don't think they're a known entity as far as a relationship that they have with us. And I think, you just have to be cautious as you move forward in this direction. That's the same reason a lot of people don't invest in Bitcoin. A lot of people do. There's a lot of money they say that can be made out there, but it's not for everybody. And I'm just questioning whether it's the right thing for the city of West Point. Next question: does anybody know who the customers are that they will be serving? Are they customers that could be our customers?
I don't follow your question.
Okay, so they're gonna provide some resources to customers, right?
No, they're
But that's the way the whole blockchain concept works, isn't it? I mean, they translate.
they're out there
resources
mining
into-
Bitcoin so they can harvest Bitcoin so they're making money by harvesting Bitcoins.
But don't they make their services available to other customers? Was there something even in the information here about providing services to their customers? No?
It's a company that's harvesting Bitcoins and they're buying a lot of power from us. And they want to buy more power, and we've got to.
Are they potentially a customer of ours? We're allowing somebody to harvest their own power?
No, they're purchasing the power from the city.
The buying power.
That's the relationship.
Yeah.
They're using the power. They're not selling.
They're not
the power.
selling it to anybody.
No, ma'am.
They're not a customer that would potentially purchase from us. So if they were to operate in this area, they would, and we didn't do this, what would they do?
They're purchasing the power to run their operation just like you purchase power to heat and cool your house.
Okay, so.
They're not selling power to anybody.
Okay, so that brings me, I'm trying to just wrap my head around what makes it lucrative for them. Now, yes, it makes it lucrative for them to be able to source their own power. It would make it lucrative for me to source mine,
No, I mean,
instead of purchasing it. But
they're not sourcing power. They use the power to mine and harvest Bitcoin
Right.
or cryptocurrency.
right.
They're not selling power.
Where would they get the power if they did not? If we didn't facilitate them harvesting their own? Is my question.
They would locate somewhere else.
And locate somewhere else.
All right. So, is it possible that other people might offer us more than what they are offering us to do that?
I mean, that's not like. I don't know the answer to that.
Or we
We
think
negotiated.
maybe we just, and I guess that underscores one of my
Well-
concerns is that we're I think kind of premature in jumping in and moving so fast in this.
Well-
And some people, have a tolerance for that.
We discussed all this like from the beginning, that we're a favorable location, that we have substations, we have excess power. There's a lot of reasons why they come to places like this to buy the power, because we're capable to do this. We're not like, and I may not get this completely right, but a larger city like Newnan that doesn't have a substation they can dedicate to doing Bitcoin mining and have excess power, they're using everything they got. We were a good location for them to do that, and are fortunate for them to be there for the revenue that they generate. They can't be out in the county because there's no power out there for them to do. There's no substation for them, for them to do that. So we've gone all this through back 6 months ago when we first got them here. This is just to go from 14 megawatts to 24 megawatts in the notes from the last meeting.
Right. I understand that this is just, an advancement on what we've already agreed to
Right,
do.
so
And that's why I say that, I kind of reluctantly agreed to it before, but I didn't think we were on the heels of that decision going to be expanding beyond that before we have an opportunity to assess, okay, is this a smart move or not? And, just because we discussed it before, this is a change. This is something new. We have discussed it. We agreed to do what we agreed to do less than 6 months ago. And now we're expanding, and some of the other things on this agenda tonight kind of wrap around or correlate to this amendment in that we're giving them more of our capacity.
Mhm.
So we're gonna be looking at, I guess, we should be looking at, well, what do we do if we need more capacity? So, I rest my case.
Okay.
I do say that, you know, it's not what we agreed to do initially. This is an amendment, and we need to think broadly about the direction that we're going and the speed with which we are moving and making these amendments.
Okay.
All right?
All right. Is there
Thank you.
anything else on that one? We've said all we got to say on that one. I've got a motion and I've got a second. So all in favor of this motion?
Aye.
Aye. Anybody opposed?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. All right, so that motion carries. We'll move on now to the West Point Village LLC Tract A1 final plat. And do I hear a motion to approve the final plat for the West Point Village LLC Tract A1 for the development of the West Point Housing Authority Mixed Income Housing?
So moved.
Motion? Do I have a second?
Second.
Second? Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That carries. Do I hear a motion for the West Point Villages Tract 1, 2, and 3? West Point Villages is requesting the subdivision of lots to sell as individual properties.
So moved.
A motion
Second.
and a second. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? That's it. One carries. Then I have, do I hear a motion to purchase 2.215 acres from West Point Villages as discussed in the previous work session? The property is adjacent to the Pear Street substation. The total price is $97,537.50. Motion?
Motion.
Need a second?
Second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Yes, what is the land value on that piece of property?
Do we know?
And is it appraised value
The assessed value?
on the tax record?
For the land?
I don't have the tax appraisal value of it in front of me. Portion of it's in Troop, a portion in Harris.
The reason I ask is, I looked at some of the other parcels that West Point Villages has sold in that same general area, and the land value is significantly less than the sales price, and sometimes this is as extreme as like $50,000 for the land, and it's sold for $400,000. But it was back during the Kia bubble, you know, when everybody was overpaying because of their speculation that the value of that land was, and that land is eventually going to be worth that, I'm pretty sure. But you know, it bumped up, and people bought. And now it's not what they thought it was going to be. Now it'll eventually cycle as everything does, but we just seem to have a history of paying far, far more than what property is worth. Now, everybody speculates. I realize that. You speculate on what you think you might get for it down the road. And some people, you know, have a greater appetite for the risk of that than others. I'm just curious as to how all of that plays into the value that's on this piece, $97,000. I don't have my computer with me, but somebody, does anybody? You can pull it up right quick.
Mr. Mayor, am I remembering correctly that this tract that's for sale would include a tract that's being donated?
Well, the 2.215 acres is half of that's being donated, and we're purchasing the other half. But the total is the 2.215.
The total property, the value that the seller is putting on the property is approximately $67,000 an acre. And that's what you and I discussed earlier, Ms. Williams. And a portion of that property, the owner is donating to the city to get that total of, to keep that per acre value up of that $97,000, whatever it is, keep that average price per acre up. So, because that's what they're asking for the property that they have for sale.
So we're right in line with them with what they're asking for other pieces.
That's correct.
Okay.
My question wasn't about what they were asking, it was about what the value is.
You asked for the tax value of the property, which, again, also, as you said, that particular
Yeah.
piece of property is a large tract. Some of the value on the tax record is still showing.
I'm making my comparison to a 1 acre tract that was sold in 2021. And it's really, I would think it would be valued a little higher than that because it has highway frontage. The one acre plot is valued at like $50,000 for the land, just the land only. Now, if there was some improvement on it that made it sell for more, but the land itself, and you know, I know how there's a relationship between that when you look at speculating on property. You're gonna look at that and you're gonna look down the road at what you wanna do with it.
Is that residential property?
It was, but years ago, it's the dental office property, is the one I'm referring to. It's right on the highway. That would be, I would think, if you really had a true appraisal done on it, it would probably appraise for more than this.
That's the tax value or what the property sold for?
The property sold for 400 or so. There are two out there. And one of them sold for 400. Both of them are 1 acre. Sold for 400. So, but we're talking about 2008. So, people look at that, because all of that's out there. They look at that and start thinking, confusing value with selling price. And that's an old comparable. Property right behind my house, right near you, Gerald. You know what happened with that? The Kia bubble, $400,000.
Yeah.
97 for 4 parcels each. Sold a few years ago, 25,000 each. So this stuff is not. I mean, you got to look at the whole picture. Is the way I'm thinking. So somebody's given us 1.2 acres, and we're buying the other acre. Is that what?
We're receiving 2.2 acres. We're paying $97,000 for 2.2 acres.
So what's the value? What's the advantage of? Why not just say we're buying a piece of property for, 1 acre for whatever we're buying it for, and they're giving us the rest, and it just seems like it's.
Well, I understand why they're doing it. They want to keep their property values up. So at the end of the day, we're buying $97,000. For $97,000, we're buying 2.2 acres, or that's $44,000 per acre, is what we're
But
buying.
to do that math, and I'm gonna give you this so that I preach transparency. I preach, call a spade a spade. Say what it is. I just don't like this.
What don't you like?
Game
What's
What's
the game?
gameplay? I love it that people want to give us property. Great, give us property. It's just, that's a transaction in and of itself, and we're gonna buy. Now it's between me and whoever's giving it to me. Maybe I'm buying it for this because you're giving me this. I know that and you know that, but to go through all of this business transaction with you know, 2.215 acres, giving the impression that, you know, we're purchasing that acreage for 97.5. And I guess if you write it up, you can say, well, we did purchase it. But the rest of the story is what I'm saying.
What's the-
Anyway.
He's not gonna give us that other 1.4 acres if we don't buy the first one. So-
Right.
So,
I'm not saying don't buy it, I'm just saying, I'm questioning the price tag, okay?
44,000 an acre.
Back up, don't do 44,000 an acre. You came to 44,000 an acre considering the gift, right? That's how you calculated 44,000 an acre, right? Considering the gift.
If I'm buying 2
Right.
acres for 100,000,
Why muddy the water with all of that? Just say what you're buying, the part you're purchasing.
2.2
What you're buying.
acres.
You're not. They're giving you all of it. Anyway, look, I'm outnumbered here. It's gonna be 3-1 again, so go
Okay,
ahead.
well, let's
I
take
just
the
have to
vote
make
then.
my-
Okay, you've
I
made
just
your,
have
you
to
made
make
your
my
point,
you know,
and,
'cause I think
well,
citizens
you know, I wanna make my
wanna
point
hear
too.
this.
We are buying 2.2 acres for $97,000 for everybody to know at 44,000 an acre, adjacent to the substation on Pear Street for improvements to the Pear Street substation. So we got a motion and a second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And opposed?
I abstain.
Abstain. Okay, all right, well, that's our, let me see here, make sure I got through everything on here. All right, that's all the business for the meeting, but I do want to say that last week, which we weren't here, was City Clerk's Week, and I want to recognize the finest city clerk in the state of Georgia. And I think we had a good turnout. Well, not a good turnout, but a fair turnout for the Riverfest. A little cool. A little cool. Yeah, float down the river. Any other announcements?
I'd like to announce that the Troup County Trust Building organization is sponsoring the Level 1 training, racial trust building training. It's this Saturday, Friday and Saturday, 13th and 14th, I believe. I encourage you to look into that if you've not been through that training. It's very worthwhile training, in my opinion. I think it's time well spent, and I certainly think that we have a need for it in Troup County.
All right, anybody else? I need a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Anybody want to stay? All right, let's go. Oops, come on to the same thing. I don't know if they forgot it. Did you hear from anybody?
Gloria, is the only one that.
Where's the one you heard from?